boys and girls. It's Mrs. Miller here today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about presidents since you just had a day off. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of our famous presidents. And today you're going to listen to our story about Abraham Lincoln, and then you're going to do a directed drawing of Abraham Lincoln. So that link is attached, and I cannot wait to see your drawings of Abe Lincoln. So let's get started with a picture book of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12th, 1809, in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky. Abraham and his older sister Sarah helped in the house and on the farm. When they were not needed at home, they walked 2 miles to school and 2 miles back. When Abraham was 7 years old, his family moved farther west to Indiana. Abraham helped his father chop down trees. They cleared the land for their farm and built a new log cabin. He was a big helper. When Abraham was 9, his mother died. A year later, his father married Sarah Bush Johnston, a widow with 3 children. Abraham's new stepmother was good to Abraham. He called her my angel mother. Abraham loved books. Sometimes he walked many miles to borrow one. When he plowed the fields, he often stopped to read. In 1830, when Abraham was 21, his family moved to Illinois. Abraham helped his father plant corn and build a fence and a new house. Wow, that must have been really hard work. Abraham was tall and thin. He was also very strong. In 1831, he and 2 other men built a flatboat. They floated it down the Mississippi River to New Orleans. In New Orleans, Abraham saw a slave market for the first time. Black slaves in chains were being sold like cattle. Seeing that done to people made Abraham miserable. He never forgot what he saw. Abraham took a steamboat up the river to New Salem, Illinois, where he worked as a clerk in a general store. He was 22 years old. Abraham laughed, told jokes and stories, and loved to talk about politics. People liked him. In 1834, Abraham Lincoln began to study law. 2 years later, he became a lawyer and moved to Springfield, the new capital of Illinois. Abraham ran for public office many times. He served in the Illinois legislature. For 2 years, he was also a member of the United States House of Representatives. In Springfield, Abraham fell in love with Mary Todd. She was lively and smart. They were married in 1842. They had 4 sons, Robert, Edward, William, and Thomas. So you can see them here. In 1858, Abraham was chosen by the new Republican Party to run for the United States Senate. He ran against Senator Stephen A. Douglas. Abraham Lincoln spoke out against slavery. He and Senator Douglas had many debates. Lincoln lost the election, but the debates made him famous throughout the country. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln ran against Senator Stephen A. Douglas for president of the United States. This time, Abraham Lincoln was elected. When Abraham Lincoln became president, there were more than 3 million black slaves in the southern states. Voters in the South were not happy to have a president who hated slavery. Soon, Abraham Lincoln was elected president. 11 southern states withdrew. Soon after Abraham Lincoln was elected president, 11 southern states withdrew from the United States. They formed their own government, the Confederate States of America. On April 12, 1861, Confederate soldiers fired on Fort Sumter, a United States fort in South Carolina. The war between the North and South, the Civil War, began. Abraham Lincoln led the war to keep the country united. During the war, Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, it declared that all slaves in the Confederate States were free. In 1863, Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. His speech became known as the Gettysburg Address. He said, "Our government, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." In 1864, the North won some important battles. Later that year, Abraham Lincoln was reelected president. On April 9, 1865, the war ended. The South surrendered to the North. The war had lasted 4 years. Many had died. 5 days later, on the evening of April 14th, Abraham and Mary Lincoln were at the theater. 1 hour after the play began, there was a shot. John Wilkes Booth, an actor who favored the South, had shot the president. Lincoln died the next day. A train carried Abraham Lincoln's body to Springfield, Illinois. Millions of Americans came to watch the train pass by to say goodbye to Abraham Lincoln. People called him Honest Abe, Father Abraham, and Savior of the Union. Some say Abraham Lincoln was our greatest president. The end. So Abraham Lincoln did a lot of very important things in his lifetime, and that's why we celebrate him, and we celebrate him in honor of all the rest of our presidents on President's Day. So you didn't have school yesterday in honor of the presidents, and so today we learned about Abraham Lincoln. So what I want you to do now is watch the video on how to draw a picture of Abraham Lincoln, and I would love for you to share it with your teachers because I know that they would love it. I hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.